Jim, good morning. Morning, guys. How are you? Yeah, John, that Tesla sucked a little bit yesterday, but that's just how stocks go sometimes. There's an adage in Wall Street that says you buy the rumor, you sell the news. They definitely bought the rumor of the deliveries and they sold the hell out of it. And that's just, that's how it goes sometimes. But if you can't sit through some volatility, you can't catch a multi-100% winner. It's not like Nvidia went from, $100 to 1,500 without some volatility, really to 1,900. Fernando, I did do a recap. Oh, what? Oh, whoops. Looks like I didn't publish. I literally just clicked the button right now. Well, that's my bad. But I literally just clicked the button now. BYD is a bit slow. I forgot to hit the publish button. Yeah, it looks really nice. It is just a little bit slow. I bought Rocket Lab yesterday, so that's nice.
Fed's Goolsbee says real-time labor market indicators suggest unemployment steady at 4.3%. Members, Fed Goolsbee is currently speaking on CNBC. We are seeing a little downtick in markets.
Yeah, my bad, Fernando. I literally had it queued up. All I had to do was publish, and I didn't.
Unemployment rate would have been 4.3%.
On which part, Rock? Just on the trading floor? Which stocks have I bought in the last few days? Well, I bought 2 and I've gotten stopped out. Well, technically I bought 4, I've gotten stopped out. So I will show you which I bought. So the first one that I bought a few days ago was this Palantir, and I bought it as a break of prior day high. Right, I liked how this thing looked, kind of coming out over 929's high. So I bought this long, and I ended up getting stopped out using low of day. So I was buying this as this thing was turning back up, and then I was using low of day. And of course, I literally bottom ticked my sell. I wasn't even patient enough to wait another 5 minutes, and I took my loss. Okay, so that one sucked. I also bought MP yesterday, and this one, fairly similar. Boy, this sucks too. I just bought as a very simple opening range break right through there, and then my stop was low of day right through here, and I got stopped as well right down here. Should have been a little bit more patient because obviously this thing turned right back up and now gapping up overnight. So that kind of sucks as well. But What are you going to do? Then on the flip side, I bought Rocket Lab. And I bought this one yesterday as a very simple 5-minute opening range break right down here. And I bought A Lab as a bounce off the 50 simple moving average. And I bought it down here. So that's it. And yes, I share all these trades with the room as I'm taking them. Unfortunately, there are two names that I wanted to be in, MP and Palantir, and I ended up taking small little losses. But that's kind of the beauty of being a swing trader. Like, I'm wrong all the time, and technically that's still 50%. Like, I missed two, I won on two, and the two losses, they're very, very small. But one Rocket Lab trade, because it trends even for a day, it makes up for those two losses. And A Lab, because it trends for 2 days, makes up for all those losses. So, I'm up almost $20 a share in A Lab. I am up $20 a share. So, that more than makes up for the really small losses. And that's just kind of how I like to keep my trading, small losses. And then if you catch up, even a decent trade, if I were to just close A Lab today, I would make well more than I lost on those other two. So that's the idea. Sometimes I keep my stops a touch too tight. And that's something I got to work on. Once it gets down to that level, I'm looking right at level 2. So it's probably good that, I utilize it a bit more. But I'm just sitting there and I'm like, it's breaking low day, I'm out, right? I just get so accustomed to. It's like, once you know your stats, and I'm wrong 65% of the time, 60% of the time, I'm don't mind cutting something. Like, everybody, I think, hates taking losses because they don't like being wrong. I'm wrong so often, and you get used to it, that you just cut it. Circle's a little interesting yesterday. It did reclaim the 50-day. I don't know that I like this setup so much, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't love it, but well, Rigetti, if you did enter yesterday, 1, smaller size, and 2, just a little downtrend line break and a break over prior day high. Right? That's it. Somewhere right in here with your stop at low day. Right? So you're risking about $1. And in return, you capture $6. And probably, today I would be trimming. That's how, because it's already extended from the 50. Right? The 2 better entries were down here. Right? If you were paying attention to them, then it's what you should have been doing. Right here and right there. What do I think of FSLY today? Nah. I mean, yeah, it might go, but why not just wait until this thing's in a better established uptrend? Like, remember, you don't have to be early to anything at all. If it's really, really going to uptrend, you haven't missed anything. And this chart hasn't gone anywhere. It's still technically in a stage 1 basing. It's still in stage 1. This is a big base. This looks better to me. It's a little sloppy here, but it has built some higher lows. It's nice and tight on the right-hand side. Maybe Barack over 20. I don't know that I love it, but snow was great yesterday. I had this in the watch list video 2 days ago. And I still think today it could be interesting. But again, if the market's pulling back, just track relative strength. Don't trade it. But I thought it was really good over 232, and then maybe over 230 or 241's got another level. Yeah, BKKT. Yeah, this could be a short any moment. What is TSSI telling me today? Nothing. I mean, price action's kind of weak for how strong this market's been. We're in a strong stage 2 bull market. When that ends, I have no idea. Could we have a pullback at a moment's notice that goes 3, 5, 7%? Yeah. And that lasts, a week or two for sure, or a month, probably. Right? Like, I don't know. Right? The reality is I don't know the answer to these questions. Like, what price cycle are we in is something that I just really try to not wrap. Now, can my situational awareness tell me, hey, don't buy stuff today? Right? Market's pulling back. Your longs are pulling back. That's why I'm already in them. Right? I've done a good job getting myself situated. Your longs are pulling back. Right? You took a little short. That's starting to work. Right? And my situational awareness from just having seen things so many times could just tell me, hey, you know what? Don't do much. But I don't really know when things are going to end, right? When the market's going to stop going higher, when things are going to roll over into a bear market. Nobody knows the answer to that question, and anybody who tries to sell you, that like they do is full of shit. So I don't know the answer to that question. All I know is that I tried to make sure that I aligned my daily watch list and my actionable setups in stocks that are in the strongest groups with the cleanest technicals. And if they've got good earnings and sales, it's a real bonus. And I try to align my buys within a good market and within the themes that are working, right? Hence the reason I'm looking to buy Palantir 3 days ago, and I'm looking to buy an MP yesterday, and I'm looking to buy a Rocket Lab, and I'm looking to buy an A Lab. One's a semiconductor, one's an aerospace and defense stock, one's a former massive leader, right? One's metals and mining, or rare earths. All of those things are in play, right? They're all in play. AI and data centers and semiconductor, these things are in play. So, focusing on things that are in play give you the best opportunity for them to go to work. Like, again, the 4 stocks that I've most recently taken, I was stopped out of 2, but they still went on to go higher that same day. So it's like, you got to be focused on the right stuff. And I don't know the answer to the question of where we are in price cycles, right? Nobody does. And it doesn't move the needle on your portfolio. We're here to make money. So, filling up your brain with stuff that nobody knows the answer to, or you try to figure stuff like that out, it doesn't matter. Where are your entries? What's your position sizing? What are you buying? When are you buying? How much of it are you buying? Right? Like, answer those questions first. How do you trim it? How do you trail it? Like, those are the things that move the needle on the portfolio. Everybody wants to try and be a smartass with like, oh, the market's about to have a blow off top and it's about to be down for the next month. Nobody knows. All I heard was September was as a seasonally weak month. We finished green. So I don't try to know the answers to questions that you don't need to know the answer to. AMSC doesn't look bad at all. This is a pretty tight chart right here. Maybe over today's highs. Looks pretty interesting. 61. Thanks for throwing this back up on my radar. I mean, it's a little up there, but could use a bit of a new base. But it's a high type flag. Not a bad one. Thoughts on DLO? Nah. Kind of looks like shit, to be honest with you. Let it show more strength. I mean, it's gapping down a little bit overnight. I mean, maybe there's a buyable spot near the 50-day, but yeah, I could explain to you about my stock scan method. I focus on, let's just call it a 3-month relative strength scan, a high volume scan, right? Up on momentum scan. So I want to know like what was up today quite a bit on a pickup in volume. I then try to piece things together in my brain. And sometimes I just use, something like Deep View or, Market Search for some of you guys, or Finviz, which is another great resource. And I look at what the leading groups are over 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year industry groups. And I'm on the hunt for clean technical setups in the top groups and with good earnings and sales. They don't always need to have good earnings and sales, but if they have them, even better, that's what calls an institution to buy a stock, and they're the ones who move things higher. So that is my thinking. Are they in a hot momentum group? Do they fit in the current theme? And that's all that really matters. So when I scan the market, if I see a nice technical setup, if I think they're in the right group, I put them in a big watch list. And then every single day I kind of go through that watch list. More names get added, names get removed. And it takes me about 10 seconds to figure out if the chart is any good for the next day, right? You just repetition of, knowing what looks good and knowing what looks like crap gets you there. Shopify. Yeah, Shopify doesn't look too bad. About as tight of a day as you're going to get yesterday. Kind of like a little low cheap before a possible breakout. Yeah, Shopify looks good. But if the market's pulling back, maybe you just leave it alone. No, I'm going to leave MP alone. If I were to go about Oscar, how would I do it? Because this thing is so choppy, and you can just see this over the course of the last year, it's just so choppy. If it's going to be on the way up, pullbacks versus ascending moving averages. GEV is basing, yeah. And it's done a really nice job basing after 160% move, 16% pullback, and it's just tightening up. I do own it from a few days ago, but it's just not really working yet. Well, I don't think, they're that great of buys today. We'll see. I don't think that they are. I bought it, 2 days ago. So 192. Yeah, I mean, Archer's cool. Joby's better. Archer's kind of a laggard. Joby was good over 17 bucks. It's you don't always have to wait for a 5-minute opening range break. Sometimes you can just buy it as a break over prior day high, and then set your stop at today's low of day, the day that you buy it. Yeah, sometimes I'll just buy it right away, especially if I see big volume coming in. Tobias, good morning. How do I deal with a cluster of bad trades? Yeah, so when I'm not trading all that great, I size things down. Or, when I'm not gaining tons of traction, I size things down. Like recently, my positions, they've been 5% and not 10. So 5% of my portfolio instead of 10. I actually thought ASTS was also, kind of buyable yesterday too, through this flat pivot. It was better the day before, but I still think Rocket Lab is just a simple bounce off the 50 SMA. You get these little pullbacks to the ascending 50, and that's all this area here was. And then you finally started to push out. So that's when I bought it, right in here, right before a break before prior day high. Nothing too difficult about it. And Rocket Lab still looks like it's in a big base, potentially ready to go higher. Do I have any limit on how much maximum percent loss of the portfolio I can take by taking small multiple loss in a day? I mean, it's rare that I even have like 1% down day trying new positions. Now, can I have a 1% down day because my open positions are pulling back on me? Yes. But like buying new positions, my risk is normally like 0.2 to 0.4. So I'm not even, if I try 2 or 3 trades in a day, maybe 1% on the high end. My thoughts on ONDS. What do you think my thoughts on ONDS would be? What do you think? You think I'm going to come in here and buy something at 10 bucks, this extended from the 50? Or have you been here long enough to know that this is insane to buy something at 10 bucks when your entry was down here or here? What do you think I'm going to tell you? You think I'm going to tell you that buying it at 10 when this thing was just at 2 months ago is the right thing to do? You think I'm going to tell you that buying it 106%, 10 times its average true range from the 50 is the right idea? So my thoughts on ONDS don't matter because it's not even buyable. Yeah, day trading's a pain in the ass. I'm going to just keep it real. It's a pain in the ass. Now it's doable, but imagine having to come up with a bright idea every single day of your life to make money. That's just it's a rough way to live. No, I don't. I don't buy it as it reverses back through my stop. I need it to reverse back through the pivot, or 620 setup, maybe like a VWAP reclaim intraday. But no, I don't have a hard time doing it. But maybe I just don't do it well enough sometimes, Isaac. Yeah, my win rate's not bad. It's like about 40% for the year, just under it, which is really good. My average hold time is 3 weeks roughly. 3 trading weeks, a little bit more, almost 4 trading weeks actually. And my average holding time for a loss is a day. Sometimes less, sometimes I leave same day. But there are subtle improvements that I can make, which will make a big difference, with the end of the year percentage. With stop at low of day, what's the most percent away from low day you would take an entry? 7%. And then at which case I would size things down to like a 5% position so that my biggest loss potential is like 0.3, 0.4, somewhere in there. Yeah, SoFi. We'll see if this thing starts to actually turn back up off the 50. But yeah, could be. You'll just want to see this take out a prior day channel is all. That's all it's got to do. RCAT the next Joby? I have no clue. I have no clue. But there's no buy here. I mean, unless there's some news today. I'm not going to come in and buy a stock up 6%. It's already past its ADR for, it's sloppy. I mean, of course it can go, but there's nothing here. I mean, it fits a theme, which is drones. I don't hate these chart setups where they go parabolic and then they just kind of stick around and float around and then they can go again. But I don't see anything tight. Yesterday would have been the spot. Yeah, DK could be one of the leaders. The real issue is crude oil just sucks. But this thing is not going anywhere. It's hanging in there while crude oil is going down. So, no, DLO is not a low cheat, John. You need to study low cheats from Mark Minervini, but DLO is definitely not one. How do I see CRDO? Fine. CRDO looks cool. Needs to reclaim the 20-day. So we'll see if it can get going over yesterday's highs. That could look pretty interesting. Do I think I can make triple-digit returns just playing breakouts, or are you an EP shorts, et cetera, as well? Well, I made triple-digit returns in 23 and 24. So, yeah, I do think you can make triple-digit returns because I've done it. So, and I did it in a not very difficult way, and this year's been even crazier than last year. You had moments. Here's the beauty of this year. This whole year has been trending the entire time, whether trending short or then trending long. And then the long side has been absolutely nutty since April, right? So, yeah, I know people who are crushing it, swing longs, no shorting at all, multiple 100%. Now, that's going to be a little bit tougher to do with my portfolio, but, yeah, making triple-digit returns is – and then eventually your account gets big enough that if you just made a 50% return, a 40% return, you're still making a life-changing amount of money, and just do that for the next 30 years. But yeah, you can. If you're trading with 100K, you can make 200, 300, 400% in this environment. Now, is it Is this environment going to stick around into next year? Yeah, I don't know about that. So I don't know what's going on with the volume here on RKT for the last few days, but it's not pretty. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll see what happens if this thing can. I don't know. I don't really see a setup. Buying it as close to the 50-day as possible, I suppose, but I don't know. This distribution over the last couple days is throwing me off, but maybe. And then use the 50-day as a guide. HIMS is getting interesting because it just doesn't go away. Yeah, HIMS is pretty interesting. I just don't see a clean enough spot. Yeah, lemonade. I also just don't see a spot. Yeah, maybe a hold off the 50, get back up above the 10. Yeah, HIMS a little bit more sideways clean up. SFRM's interesting. It's built a nice what is it? Is it SFRM or SRFM? I think I saw Jeff Sun mention this one, but I don't really trade names like this. But yeah, I mean, maybe. The real issue with a name like this for me is it's far too thin. It's trading 10 million bucks a day. I mean, who the hell's trading this thing? Nobody. AAP, Advanced Auto Parts. It's just in a so-so group. I mean, not bad holding up, but so-so group. Yeah, I don't like what ANET did yesterday. I don't like this price action, but I had the same exact spot here. It was a break over prior day high, and it opened right at it, and then it sold off all day. So the spot remains the same, 150. Over 150 good, below 150 not so good. I'm not trading ZEPP. It looks like a China pump to me. SYM is so annoying, man. Shook me out, and then it goes and sees a new high. Son of a biscuit. Terrible. So I had this one right in here as a reclaim of the 50-day. I trimmed a small little piece the next day, and I got stopped out down here. And, of course, this thing tightens up and then rips for 2 days. So annoying. I had such a nice position there, too. No, I didn't see Christian's post, and I don't know what he said or anything about it. Oh, man, ASML is a little bit frustrating. I tried to buy this thing in here. No luck. Shook me out. I don't know if Futu's becoming a laggard. It just needs a new base. It's made it such a big move that, 3 to 5 weeks tight would be good. I mean, maybe a little bit longer, 7 weeks. Would I consider AMD over 171? Yeah, maybe. I would prefer to see a little bit more strength than a higher low. Can I please detail a bit of stage 2 bull market? Yes, I can. What we are currently in, where you're above the 200, above the 50, and a lot of stocks are breaking out. SMR, AMD, CRDO, AMSC, quarter position, up 2%. Would I want to add going into the weekend, even if you were flat? No, I don't. Whenever you add to a position, you have to treat it as if you didn't own it at all. Yeah, VST is not bad. See if it can get back over the 10-day and over prior day high, but it looks good. See what it does over 205. Thoughts on plug? Kind of a laggard in the space, but maybe it'll set up down the road. Isn't MP a better buy at 77? No, MP was a really good buy down at 69 when I tried buying it. I just got stopped out. If there's a bear market, are there long opportunities? Yes, you could trade the inverse of stocks that are now going down. Or if you want to only trade longs, or you can short stuff. I mean, Billy is in a stage 2 uptrend. And so is Baba. Awesome move. Any thoughts on STRL? Steel name, right? Sterling, right? Or is this construction? I don't know. I can't remember them all, but I think this might be construction. Thought it looked really good. 910. Am I watching open today? No, not really. Not really. I'm sure this name's not done going higher, but nope. MP, the entry was yesterday. I tried to buy it and I just got stopped out at low of day, unfortunately. Rambus, it's in a good sector. Yeah, beautiful. Just set an alert on it as well. You could trim whenever it makes you feel comfortable. Do you think that these names have more to go? Are they going to go for a parabolic ride? Nobody knows. Yeah, I don't know that I would call it a great setup, but it's definitely hanging in there. So I like the CEO of, I like that they got the CEO from, or CFO from Shopify. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, open, not bad. I did. I was forced to sell some of my Tesla when it broke yesterday's lows, but I still have half my original position. I'm still in from $350 and I'm up $90 a share. So we're still doing pretty good. Would you buy anything behind 4X? Well, for me, it's the 50 simple moving average on the daily, and very, very rarely would I consider doing something like that. It depends. If they've got parabolic kind of action, then maybe. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I totally messed up too. I had my video ready to go yesterday and I just didn't post it on YouTube. Whoops. Yeah, Rambus looks good. Rambus looks good. Considering Reddit for what? Yeah, maybe down the road, but it does not look good. Big exit volume on it. I think this thing probably ends up in the mid 180s at some point. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know that I would consider it until it gets well above its 50 and then digests a little longer because some distribution coming into this thing. Yeah, use what's called progressive exposure. If you were down 30% from February to April, now you're up 44 for the year and you don't want to bust again, what do? It's called progressive exposure, right? Don't try to get all your money to work right at once. You got to do it slowly. Yeah, I think Rocket Lab does look ready. I'm already sitting long in it, so we'll just let it work. Maybe, when it gets over today's highs, I can add a tiny little piece. Yes, CLS is interesting. Would need to get going over yesterday's highs for me to be interested. BBAI looks good. Yeah, I don't necessarily love trading these kind of, very low revenue, diluting kind of stocks, but maybe. Again, big move up, just a long bit of sideways. I mean, it could go. It could go. I know they've got like a deal with the U.S. government as well, kind of like Palantir. Qualcomm's too slow. Really shouldn't even be on the watch list. I think Palantir is buyable over yesterday's highs, but really 190 is the level that looks even better. But yeah, it could be. Checkbacks into like the 10-day look a bit more interesting. No, I think just it really often depends on a stock's average daily range. If it's slower, you can actually put more than 10% of your account and still hit the, 0.2 to 0.3 to 0.4 to 0.5% loss. So yeah, I really wouldn't even, you kind of just need to focus more on the setups, and then, you just think about the risk when you're going to enter. Like I don't, think about 10% positions is for like a stock with like a 3% stop, 4% stop, and tons of liquidity, and at least a 4 or 5 ADR every day. Yeah, exactly, Scotland. I'm with you. Today doesn't feel like the day to pack on a bunch of new longs. Yep, that was definitely a couple days ago. When I was trying to get long, Palantir 3-4 days ago. When I was trying, if you bought like an A Lab 2 days ago, great. If you bought, Coinbase a few days ago, great. AMD, 2 days ago on Wednesday, great. But going to pack a bunch of longs on, it doesn't really feel like the right move either. At this point, and I kind of said it in last night's watch list video, we're kind of at that juncture where if you've done your work, you should be in 3-4 plus longs minimum, right? Up to 10 for some people, 12 for some people. Like if you're just trying to get money to work now, you've done a bad job getting situated in the market. No other way I can put it. Right? You can't sugarcoat that one. If you don't own at least 4 longs, you've done a terrible job getting situated in the market as a swing trader. Right? And for myself, I've got ALAB, I've got ARC, I've got CCJ, I've got GEV, I've got NVIDIA, I've got PDD, I've got Rocket Lab, I've got Tesla. And I'm missing a few. I got stopped out of MP yesterday, unfortunately, really the spot I should have been buying instead of selling. And I got stopped out of Palantir a few days ago. You could almost add those onto the list. And I got stopped out of SYM. Right. So those are another 3 longs that I could have potentially had I maybe not gotten shaken out on the 25th. So, but yes, I am 100% with you. Really, the job was to get situated a couple of days ago, earlier this week, and really over the last 2 weeks. Now you almost got to be in that I'm just going to let my stuff work mode. And anything that starts to break out next week, it's a laggard at this point, right? The best stocks are already have shown their face. Yeah, no, I'm just going to bump my stop to flat on Rocket Lab because it was such a nice move, at least for my average. And I don't expect this thing to come back, sub $50 or really back into the 49s. That would be kind of crappy. So, if this thing can give another push, I mean, this base looks like it's ready to start pushing. So we'll see. And we'll take it from there. There was a moment yesterday when the market was just kind of pulling back during the morning, and this thing just kept ripping. So it was showing some nice relative strength. We'll just let it work from there. Roblox looks like a short. Yeah, they got that pop a few days ago where it was like on the EA Sports buyout. I don't remember where it took place, but yeah, you start losing the 50-day and it's no good. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not sure what the news is. Let's take a peek. And there is no news. Fantastic. Leave it alone. If below the 50-day for me is the first red flag, I just leave it alone. Yeah, do I ever trade TQQQ? Yeah, whenever I believe there to be a big opportunity, but I don't just trade it to trade it. I trade it when I can't necessarily find a single stock that I want to own, but I think that the sector tech names are ready to go higher, but I can't find a really perfect tech setup. Yeah, MSOS looks pretty good. MSOS looks like it's trying to get higher. No pun intended. Um, it really depends on environment, right? It took me about 15 months to go from 30K to 3 million. But again, it was environment, right? It's not like, could I do it in this environment? Maybe, and it would probably take me, you know, 2 years, I would think. I don't know, at least. Again, 2020 and 2021, big time anomalies, right? Sympathy plays were on fire, insane amount of liquidity. Everybody had a stimulus check. Like, and again, like doing what I did, that's how I got kicked from my broker. So you're not really going to get midpoint fills, and you're really going to get kicked from your broker for toxic order flow. And, look, don't put an emphasis on trying to take 25K to $1 million. Like, forget about $1 million. All right. First of all, it's very easily spent nowadays, but you need to think like 20, 30 years out, right? Like, you need to think about this as a long-term career. Like, go ahead and get a compounding calculator and say to yourself, if I make 30% for 30 years on 30K, where am I at? You're going to be wealthy. So can I please mark on my charts the entry and trim prices on what exactly? Would I buy something bouncing off the 50 if the 10 and the 20 are 10 and the 10 are sloping down, 10 and 20? Yes, I would. Depends the scenario. No, Rambus looks pretty good. I don't like the way Rivian is setting up. I don't know if you looked at it the other day. It got completely smashed. Yeah, I think the XLV is looking pretty good. I think CLS is looking, decent. Needs to take out yesterday's highs, but again, I'm with Scotland. I don't know how much we need to be packing on new exposure here. The job had to have been done days ago. Right now, it's just like, let your longs work. If you're going to take new stuff, like one at a time, right? Super tight stops, smaller position sizing. Yeah, AMD looks fine. It just needs a higher low above the 50. What do I make of market leaders going down? Well, we're not in that scenario yet. So I'll let you know what I make of it when that starts to happen. Let me know when Hood, NVIDIA, Palantir, CLS start to go down. And many others. STX, KTOS. There's a lot of leaders right now. That's the thing. There are a lot of stocks at new all-time highs, like every single day. So my thoughts on Tesla here, I didn't love the bearish engulfing bar yesterday. It made me trim another quarter of my position. I'm down to half of my original, and I won't buy more until it sets up again. How many stages are there in a bull market? I have no clue. Some bull markets last a whole lot longer than others. RZLV. Well, it did a nice job bouncing back after the sell-off on earnings. That's always pretty bullish. I don't see a setup, though. Yes, Rambus is a little bit extended from the 50, but it is a pretty nice high tie flag. And you know what? It's not that extended. It's about 5 times its ATR from the 50. This market, you've been able to get away with that. Any more than that is probably a no. BBAI, a little sloppy. Not really a name I kind of trade. What are the things I'd like to get better at trading? I'd like to learn about, scaling my loss in thirds before it hits my actual stop loss. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that. I was, kind of watching and listening to Jeff talk about it yesterday, but what could I get better at? Maybe being a touch less greedy, doing a little bit better at scaling my positions into wins, whether I'm covering some into weakness or selling some into strength. Maybe, being a little bit more patient with my winners, rebuying stocks that stop me out. I mean, there's a lot of things I can work on. There's like always something. Can't really think about it off the top of my head because I make money, right? So it's like, you always think you're perfect when you're making money, but I know that there's always room for improvement. Do I like the Amazon setup? Not really. What's there to like here? It's below the declining 50-day. The 50-day is declining. Stock market's at a new all-time highs, and this thing's been breaking down for the last few weeks. Nothing good. Nothing good's going on over at Amazon at the moment. What would I like about CNC? My thoughts on it are that it looks like total hot trash. If I had a small account, would I trade microcaps like DFLI? No. No, I would not. Like, guys, just because you have a small account doesn't mean you have to trade the shittiest stocks in the market. If you have a small account, you should still be looking like, here you go. You think you're going to take a 20K account, turn it into $1 million, trading the biggest dog shit on planet Earth. And then all of a sudden you have $1 million account. You go, I'm going to now start trading like Ariel, or I'm going to be like Stan Druckenmiller, or I'm going to be like the Bill O'Neill, or I'm going to be like whoever your favorite swing trader on planet Earth is. No, if you made $1 million trading dog shit, once you make that $1 million, you're going to continue to trade that dog shit because that's how you made your $1 million. Like, don't think that trading this kind of shit because it moves 22% per day and then you made your $1 million, probably getting lucky and dealing with all sorts of stresses, that you're going to now all of a sudden change the way you do things. Instead, do things the right way, right from the start. And then when you make your $1 million, it's the most scalable way to continue to grow. Right? Because you're dealing with stocks and leading groups, good earnings and sales, clean technical setups, patience, letting trends work for you, stuff like that, right? Doing the right thing over and over and over and over and over. And then you're like, wow, I just made my $1 million. Now scaling to 2 and getting to 5 and getting to 10 becomes a whole lot easier. It doesn't look that great. Just a random choppy setup. Look at this dog shit. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know. I don't see the setup. There's no setup here. What would I think about this thing? I mean, it's plenty liquid, so that's cool. But it's just random. SLDP, is this a battery name? Yeah, it fits the theme. It's battery. I don't know that I love it just yet, but yeah, maybe back over the 50. Yeah, Apple looks like a high type flag. We'll see if it can get going in a few days, but we'll see. Yeah, MDB. Yeah, I have looked at this one. Yeah, it's just hanging in there. It's just a little, it's a little slow. But we'll see. Thoughts on TEM? It's called the Widowmaker. Yeah, CrowdStrike looks interesting. Zscaler and PanW are starting to look a whole lot better. Do I think this is a good place to buy? I think before you start buying anything, Shaq, you need to study what good technical setups look like because this ain't it. I think you need to slow yourself down and you need to study more what good technicals look like. The best buy on IONQ was down in the 40s. How many ATRs is too far from the 50 to buy? I don't like to buy more than 5. In this environment, you can get, or more than 4. In this environment, you can get away with 5. Does Walmart look good? Well, you said it the first time. It's slow, so it shouldn't even be on your radar. But yeah, it doesn't look terrible. It's in a big base. But why would you even be looking at it? Grab had a nice big weekly base. Yeah, Grab looks pretty good, actually. I thought IBKR had a nice setup a few days ago. Right through here. Your entry on IBKR was on 929. So, all right, guys. I appreciate you guys all. It is Friday. Hopefully you guys have a super safe and fun weekend. I appreciate you guys all for being here, and I will see you guys on Monday. Any questions, you guys can shoot me a little message on X, just at me or something. And then for those of you guys in the room, I'll see you guys in like 5 minutes. So thank you guys for being here. We'll see you on Monday. Please be safe out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. You guys be safe. Cheers.